Hello. Hello. It's me again, Annie Toledo with Akamai Chats. I am here again to share with you guys. I really want to help you if you want to start a business for whatever reason. I want to help you. And part of the reason why I'm doing this is because for myself, I'm not going to be able to retire at 65 and like not any work anymore. That would be, I don't know, that would be nice because it would be boring actually to like not do anything anymore. So I'm going to keep working, but I want to work for today. I need to work for today so that I can have money to like live and enjoy stuff. But I also need to work for tomorrow because eventually one day I want to stop the hustle and, have a more relaxed business. Um, One that I don't have to like constantly fill my pipeline and all the things. So, and I have a feeling that there's a lot of us like that out there today in today's day and age. Our parents used to have pensions and we don't have pensions anymore. We've got to create our own pension. So anyway, that's part of the reason why I started my channel. But I also realized that there's a lot of people out there that want to leave their job, don't like their job, getting into a job that they had no idea that they actually don't like. Or, they do like their job, but they want to have more freedom to do stuff for themselves and for their family and what have you. So today I want to talk about using the skills that you have to start a side hustle or to start a business. So ideally, you want to start a business. If people want to just jump in and you see all these people on YouTube. Oh, I made $100,000 last month or whatever. Yeah, it takes time to get there, and you can't be quitting your job and start with nothing. So we start a side hustle while we're working, while we're doing other things to make income for today, so that your side hustle can eventually take over that income for in the future. So in order to do that, there's like different levels of skill sets that I want to address. First of all, it's like people who are like low to no tech, right? People who don't need to have computers or use all these electronic digital tools to run their life. For example, like a simple like a landscaper, right? They don't necessarily use the technology for their business. Some people do. Some people, they've got apps and stuff that they can download to an iPad and do their estimates and everything in the field and whatever, but not necessarily, right? So zero to low tech experience. And then, like where you can learn things, you can learn a new skill or learn how to use a different software or like learn how to build websites, right? If you have a basic understanding of how digital tools work, you can do that. And then there are other people who are already in like a technology industry, and they want to be full-time running their business from home, or like not working at a job. They want to work at home. What if the pandemic taught us anything is that we don't have to be at a physical place necessarily to run a business or to actually work. So and speaking of which, I just thought of this, and this is really funny. During the pandemic, when we were all doing Zoom meetings and stuff, um, you know, I always want to brush my teeth before I do a Zoom meeting, which is kind of stupid. But in my career, I've always been client facing. You have to go and visit a client at their office, at their store, or whatever, to do meetings with them. You can do meetings over the phone, but people want to see you in person. And so I was always like really self-conscious about making sure I brush my teeth before I go to an appointment. And so now before I do a video chat, I always want to brush my teeth. Is that weird? Raise your hand or, share in the comments if you do that, because I think that that's kind of funny. But anyway, so you can work from pretty much anywhere if you use technology to do your work. But some people don't have those capabilities, so they don't have access necessarily to all the tools that, like having an iPad to go in the field, for example. So I want to help people at all different levels of that, wanting to start a business. And I want to start by telling you some stories of people who used their skills and talents and abilities to leave their job and actually start a business. So the first person is myself. When a long time ago, when I first got divorced, my kids were little. My daughter was 4, my son was 7. And, like now the income is all me, and I had child support, but it was like not much to speak of. And so I knew I had to take care of my kids. So what I did was I had a job that I went to, but the job paid for like their schooling and their daycare. So I needed extra money. So what I did was I already knew how to sew. I've been sewing since I was like in the 7th grade, and made my own clothes. And then I eventually like made my own patterns and things. I made tote bags, and I turned that into a business, because when I got divorced and I had to go get a job, it wasn't enough. That my job plus my child support wasn't enough for me to, take care of my kids. So I decided to start using my sewing skills to make a little business for myself. I started out with tote bags, and it's called the Hawaiian print tote bag. And I made my tote bags, and I went and I took them to little shops in Waikiki to try and get the store owners to order from me. I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know anything about outside sales, but I made it happen. And along the way, I met people who taught me how to do stuff like, what is, do you do terms? I'm like, what is terms? What does that mean? Oh yeah, you can deliver your product and I pay you 30 days later. I was like, sure, why not? But, I was very lucky that nobody ever, didn't pay their bill. So I was really, really lucky. But anyway, so I turned my skills and experience in sewing and making my own patterns into a sewing business. So that grew from like one account at the Complete Kitchen, which is at Ala Moana Shopping Center. I don't think they're there anymore. One account, and then I had throughout the whole island chain, I had 15 accounts that I sold to. So if I wasn't working at my job, I was sewing, and I learned to source my materials, my fabric, my, all the things I needed. And I bought a industrial sewing machine, which I had no idea that existed, but I found one, and it was like amazing, because my little regular Singer sewing machine wasn't cutting it. So I had to get a commercial one. But that bloomed into a flourishing business. And eventually I quit my job and I just did my sewing full time. That's how I got up to 15 accounts, is because I was able to do it full time and go meet more people and sew more things and everything. So I turned my abilities into a job. And then I have a friend who she works for a law firm, and she did it for like 30 years. She wasn't an attorney. She did it for 30 years or so. And then she had some, life changes, like good kind of life changes. And she wanted to spend more time with her family. So she decided she's going to take the dive and leave the firm. And she was an independent person. And she's been doing it for like going on 3 years now, and she is doing fantastic. A friend built her website, and the website is generating business for her. She does a lot of networking. She works with a lot of different law firms who use her services for their company. So she turned her skills that she had already had in the knowledge, 30 years of knowledge in law, that's valuable. So she didn't abandon her, all of her experience. She used it to her advantage, and now she has a flourishing business. And then I have another friend who loves to cook, just loves to cook. And so she turned her cooking into a business, and she has a few families that she cooks for. So she goes and she makes like lunches and dinners for them, and you can like pre-cook things and deliver them. So she took her cooking skills and turned it into a business. I have another friend who's a baker, And he did the same thing. He's loved to bake, and he bakes fantastic cakes, like amazing cakes. And he has a full-time business where all he does is bake. So if you think about the things that you are interested in now, mind you, whatever your hobby is that you want to turn into a business, it's going to have to be something that you would really, really love to do, because you're going to be doing it all day, all day. So if you have those kind of interests that you could turn into a business, that'll be great, right? So using your skills, talents, and abilities. The other kind of business that you could possibly start are like local services. Like if you're not like super tech savvy, you want to start a local business, a small business, like maybe you do dog walking, right? Or dog sitting. Rover.com is just one of the websites where you can register, create an account for yourself, and people can hire you to walk their dogs. And, the more reviews you get, the more credibility and authority you have to get hired. So there's that. Let's say you love to put together furniture from IKEA, right? Some people, they'll buy the furniture from IKEA and they just have no interest in putting it together. It's just like, I don't mind doing it, but if I could pay somebody else to do it, I would. So you can go on TaskRabbit, you can go to Upwork, create a profile for yourself, and put yourself out there to, you could even like pick it up for them, bring it to their house, and put it together. All you need are some basic tools. And, for example, for IKEA furniture, you don't really need a lot of tools. They have that little hex tool that usually comes with it. But, that's an idea that you can start doing part-time so that you can save up some money to start a different business that you want to do. You can remember on The Office, they did that parkour thing. I don't even know if that was a thing aside from The Office, but you can parkour your way up to the business that you really want to do. So speaking of parkour, for myself, I had the sewing business for a long time. And that was basically a work from home kind of business. And I graduated up to a full-time, full-fledged brick and mortar store. So, I love to work with my hands. I like to make stuff. And so back in 2004, 2005, I opened up a scrapbook store. And it was you want to talk about from scratch. This was in a brand new building with no walls, nothing. It was called a vanilla shell. So they just had just the walls, and that was it. I had to get loans and stuff to put in the air conditioning unit and to buy all of the fixtures and the inventory and everything. But I parkoured my way up to a brick and mortar store. Now you may or may not want to do that, because brick and mortar is really expensive. It's a huge commitment, and it could break you if you really don't know what you're doing. If you don't have experience in that area, don't do it. Try and work from home as much as you can, because that's a less risky kind of business. You could pick up dog poop. You could do babysitting. You could, let me see. There was a cookie girl. Okay, so when I had my scrapbook store, there was a cookie girl, and she had a soda box of wrapped up cookies that she baked, and she came to our area once a week. And her cookies were so good. The peanut butter ones were just amazing. And that's what she knew how to bake, and she wanted to make some extra money. So she just did it. She just did the thing. And she went door to door to door to all these business owners and sold her cookies. You could do the same thing with cupcakes. You could do the same thing with whatever. Just check your state for the Department of Health regulations, because you don't want to be messing with any of that. So, but that's a good example. She liked to bake. She had little kids. She didn't, she couldn't really go on and get a full-time job, but she wanted to make extra money. So think about those kind of things. What do I like to do that I could turn into a business? Because, today's hard. It's hard. You got to work and maybe 2 jobs just to make it. Rent is really high. I've been trying to buy a house for years, but, that wasn't in the plan. So I'm still working towards that. And yeah, so let me see if I have some more examples in my little notes here. And oh, my friend, he was actually my client, but he loved tea. And he would go around like to all the different countries and states and whatever, looking for the best tea. And so he started a tea company, and it was wholesale. So he packaged up the tea, he designed his boxes, and he just started selling his tea. And then next thing you know, he's in all of the stores and he's in all of the restaurants. So he turned his interest in tea, just loved tea, turned it into a business. So what kind of, maybe you can leave it in the comments if you want some help, like, okay, this is what I do for a living. How can I turn that into a business? I bought a car in 2021 here in Vegas, and back home in Honolulu, when you buy a car, the dealership handles everything. They register your car, and they call you like, hey, you gotta come pick up your plates. So, but here it's not like that. I found out. So I bought my car from the Toyota dealership, and they're like, oh, okay, well, you can pay $35 and have this lady, register your car. I'm like, ew, how come you guys don't do it? And they're like, oh, we don't do that. So this lady does it for the $35. And I'm like, I ain't paying somebody $35 to stand in line to register my car. I'm gonna do it. So dumb, went to the DMV. You can't make an appointment because you can't be driving around without a registered vehicle. Okay, first of all. And so I went to the DMV, and because I didn't have an appointment, I had to be put on a waiting list. I waited for like 2 hours sitting there like a sitting duck, just sitting there waiting. So I went back up to the counter. I'm like, when is my turn? And she's like, she looked at her list and she said, oh, it's not going to be for another couple hours yet. I'm like, so I sat down and I waited some more. I waited for like 1 more hour. Like my limit was 3 hours to be sitting there. And I went back to the counter and I said, I've been here for 3 hours. So when is my turn coming? And I bet you, anyway, she put me at the bottom of the list. She's like, oh yeah, you have a couple more hours. I'm like, anyways, so I said, okay, fine. Just text me when my car's ready. I went outside and I sat in my car and I was just seething. I'm like, I hate waiting. I don't like lines. I don't like waiting at traffic lights even. I'm like very impatient, but that's just me. And so I decided to abandon that idea. And I thought, you know what, $35 is so worth me not having to sit here to do this. So I went back to the dealership, paid my $35, and the lady registered it for me, like not even a problem. So, if, like, let's say you work at the DMV and you want to quit your job because it's not like the happiest place to work. Like, I'm just saying, the people there are kind of miserable. But if that's you and you want to leave your job, you can go do that. You can maybe work out some deals with some dealerships, or there's like some small car dealerships, or you can find people, you can network, you can go to network meetings. And networking is a whole nother thing that I'm going to talk about later. When you start a small business, you need to market yourself, and networking, depending on the kind of business you have, networking is great because you put your name out there, you get to know people, you establish trust with people, they get to know your face. And so networking is fun. It's like just talking story with people all day, finding out about their business and what kind of customers they want. And if you refer people to them, they will refer back to you. So it's like a give kind of thing. So anyways, those are some of the ideas that I had. And so if you want to, live in the comments, tell me what kind of job you do, and I can do some brainstorming and help you come up with some ways and some ideas to take your job and turn it into a business for yourself, so that you can start saving money for tomorrow and eventually leave your job. Anyway, so that's me. My name is Annie, and my channel name is Akamai Chats. I would love for you to subscribe. I really hate watching these videos and like, don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment, but it really does help. It helps the channel grow. It helps It helps us, create more content for you, and especially leaving comments, nice comments, if you please. Leaving comments, it really does help us, because then we can create the content that you want to know about. Okay, so that's it. Annie Toledo with Akamai Chats. I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, now I gotta figure out how to turn this off. Okay, stop recording. Okay, bye.